Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Who is on Erik ten Hag's exit list this summer? And we're not going to be talking about players who are running out of contract like Pogba, Lingard, Cavani and co. We're talking about players that would expect to be here next year but will be on the transfer list this summer. And it's not a lot about opinion, it's about conversations I've had, articles and comments from people in the know that you can read as well. There are 6 Manchester United players that are on the transfer list this summer, and I think there's going to be a couple of shocks in there for you as well, which we'll get into. So make sure you smash a like on the video and get your comments in below on what you think and who you think should be going. Who would be your top 6, top 5, top 4? But before we get into that, as you can see, I've got my Boohoo Man clobber, even in the United colours. You can get 40% off by scanning the QR code that's on the screen or going through the link in the description. Boohoo Man Active is all about looking good and feeling great like me, and I think we can all agree that I'm looking very dapper in my Boohoo Man Active range top today. However, one thing I do need to say before we crack on is during last week's United versus Liverpool game, Boohoo Man gave away an £800 voucher to purchase anything on the store. So congratulations to our winner, which I can now announce is Philip Austin. You are the winner of the £800 voucher that you can spend at Boohoo Man. My recommendation would be to check out their summer wear, as fingers crossed we're going to get a hot summer. And you can show off your friends in some Goldbridge approved garments. If you want to get yourself some Boohoo Man Active range where then, you know, they love the United Stand viewers and they're giving you an exclusive 40% off, plus you'll get an additional 10% off after the discount has been applied. This extra 10% applies to everything on the site except for certain sale items. The code you need to use is EXTRA. You can scan that QR code there as well. Take you straight to the website. Remember to use the code EXTRA. I'm wearing some here as well. Right, let's get on with the show, and we're going to go straight into this. So, look, bit of a hint, bit of a spoiler there. The first player is going to be Alex Tellez. There's 6 to go through. Alex Tellez will be on the transfer list this summer. And I think the first thing I would say as well is that this is not a scenario at Manchester United, and I've had this on very good authority. This is not a scenario at Manchester United whereby, because I asked this question, I said, people are talking about Tellez and the other names we're going to talk about here. But if Erik ten Hag's not going to start the job until the start of July, and then they're going to go straight off to the other side of the world on a pre-season tour, and he's going to look at the players in pre-season friendlies, and then they're back at the end of July, is he then going to start selling players when there's only a month, when the season's already started? And we end up selling nobody and the deadwood's there. And I was told by more than one person, one of them literally about an hour ago, well, that's not going to be the case. That's the whole point of Ralf Rangnick. That's the whole point of Erik ten Hag having a style of play. That's the whole point of Erik ten Hag monitoring Manchester United. United know they've got to remove some players, and Erik ten Hag knows he's got to remove some players, and that this will not be a case of let's see what they're like and give them a chance. United know that they've failed from doing that in previous years. This is, these players aren't up to it. What deals can we do? Some of them may well go on the tour. It may take till mid-August to sell them, but these players will be made aware that they're not wanted and that they can look for moves through their agents. Whether they can find buyers will be interesting. Alex Tellez is definitely on that list. It's not been a great time for Alex Tellez at Manchester United. I was quite excited about this signing, but looking back on it, the warning signs were there. We wanted Reguilon, we wanted somebody else. We ended up with Tellez. I think he was 4th or 5th down the queue. It's just not worked out. Solskjaer bought him and was clearly never impressed with him. He never really pushed Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, over the time that Tellez has been here, has had dips where he could have been pushed. Tellez has not been able to do it. So much so that we're even talking about picking a right back at left back over him. He does need to be moved on. I don't think we'll get a lot of money for him. I don't think we paid particularly that much money for him. But he ain't this standard of a Premier League player. And United definitely need to move him on. And he'd probably be one of the easiest ones to move on. And with Brandon Williams coming back, maybe you have a season where you go with Williams as the backup to Shaw. There's even the lad from the youth setup coming through. Fernandez, I think his name is as well. So we need it. We do need to bring a left back in. I'd be very surprised if Tellez isn't sold in the summer, because I think he's one of the players that we can move on quite comfortably. Which moves us across to Wambasaka. Wambasaka will be on the transfer list this summer, unfortunately for the lad. And I've always been a fan of Wambasaka, but sometimes you've just got to... I'm not digging him out. I don't think some people will be digging him out quite abusively or whatever and saying he's crap, he's this, that and the other. I don't think he's crap. I just don't think he's... I think similarly to Harry Maguire, I just don't think he's up to the level. United will listen to offers. The interesting thing here is, and I did ask this from somebody I spoke to yesterday about this one actually, How low will United go on the fee? They spent £50 million on him. You're never going to get that back. How low would they go? I was told United would probably take 25, so 50%, which is probably realistic. And Wambasaka's still relatively young. And I think Wambasaka, at the right club, I mean, I'm not going to start naming clubs, but he's definitely a Premier League right back. The problem Wambasaka's got is he's probably edging towards not being in the top 10 right backs in England, and we spent £50 million on him. His career is lost at Manchester United. Manchester United know they can't use him. Parting of the ways for both is absolutely essential, but he's got a big contract, he's on big wages. It's down to the player really, and whether his agent can find him a move. It might not be easy, but his problem at Manchester United, and this is a player that Erik ten Hag doesn't need to take a look at Aaron Wambasaka. He doesn't need to take a look at him and make his mind up. Aaron Wambasaka is many things. He's a very good defensive right back, and on his day, he can be a man of the match performer. He's done it for United before, but he's never going to be the overlapping fullback that Erik ten Hag wants, and he's never going to be the ball playing right back that Erik ten Hag wants. It's the most logical sale straight away. There may be some potential in Delo for that going forward, but it's never going to be there with Wambasaka. He's just not the profile of right back that Erik ten Hag's going to want, and he's also. You know, some people would say, wow, De Gea's not the type of goalkeeper. Ronaldo's not the type of striker. But they're coming from a position of winning, experience, and a good season, and a performers. Wambasaka's got none of that in his background that Ten Hag could look at him and go, he's not quite my right back, but he's won titles. He's playing well. He's got none of that. So United will be looking to offload Wambasaka. It'll be difficult to see if they can do it. Number 3, Phil Jones. And what I would say is there's 6 players here. I'm not going to say... Obviously, we know Cavani's going to go, Pogba's going to go, Lingard. There's 6 players that are out of contract that are going to go. So to sell another 6, we might not sell all of them. We might not be able to sell all of them, but they're on the list. Phil Jones, got to go. This is the easiest one of the lot. He's played, 2 games in a decade? I'm joking, but he hardly ever plays. He's actually got himself back fit this season, not played. United centre-backs have probably had the worst season they've ever had in Premier League history. We've conceded loads and loads of goals, and still Phil Jones can't really get any game time. His future is not at Manchester United for very similar reasons to Tellez and Wambasaka, but in different ways. He's a longer servant. There's more affection, I suppose, to Phil Jones. I don't particularly think he's better than Wambasaka is at right back. If Phil Jones is a centre-back, but there's more affection there. But Phil Jones needs to go for his career. United won't stand in his way. It's about whether he can find a move, and it's not even about a transfer fee for Phil Jones. We know he's going to get moved on. Number 4, another centre-back, Eric Bailly. There's a couple of controversial ones coming up, but Eric Bailly isn't really a controversial one. We can all make predictions. There's another player I'm going to talk about like this anyway, so it's not individualising them. There are players that are attached to being leaking information because they're not in the team, being unhappy and being disruptive. I'm not saying Eric Bailly's one of those players. He could be one of those players. He's got every right to be frustrated. I think there's been times this season, there's been times last season and the season before where he's been thrown into big games. 2 games against Chelsea in the last 2 years come to mind where Lindelof or somebody's been injured. He's been brought into that game. He's not let us down. And then the next week he's out of the team. Solskjaer didn't rate him. Rangnick didn't rate him. Has he been treated badly? I mean, he's got his limitations to his game. He probably should have got more game time. But similarly to Phil Jones, worst defence we've had in years, and he's not had any game time. If you don't know the writings on the wall in that situation, then you truly are blind to your footballing talents. You are not rated at Manchester United. He needs to move on. The thing for Eric Bailly is he's probably the easiest sale of the lot, because there will be people. There's people in our fan base. Me myself have looked at it sometimes and said, I'd pick Eric Bailly. Even last season, when we didn't have Varane, I wanted Bailly to play with Maguire or Lindelof. So there will be buyers for Bailly. I don't know how much we'd get, 15 million maybe. We never should have offered him a contract last year. I think we conned him. I bet he wished he'd never signed it. But he will be moving on this summer. He's not going to be playing under Erik ten Hag. And not necessarily because of his talent. I think the report from Rangnick will be quite damning of Eric Bailly, and I think that will be one of the factors in why Erik ten Hag just says, look, it's time to move on. Be very surprised to see him at the club, and I think he wants to move on himself. This one, Anthony Martial, probably the biggest high profile of the ones that's on the transfer list, but probably not the most controversial. Anthony Martial has been at this club for a long time. He's a player that personally I like a lot, but I'm trying not to add opinion to this because what this is all about is information I've had, and information, more importantly, that's just out there if you go and read the credible journalists and forums and things like that. Martial doesn't want a future at Manchester United, is the bottom line, first of all, and most people will tell you that. Rangnick wanted him to be part of his plans. He said, I don't want to be. Not in a bad way. I don't think he's got any problem with the club or the fans or anything like that. I just think Anthony Martial looks at his time at Manchester United and realises it's at his end. Ralph Rangnick came in and said to him, look, I think you can be part of this team for the rest of the season. He said, I'd rather leave and go to Spain, where it's not exactly worked out that well. Martial wants a fresh challenge. He doesn't want to get locked into the cycle of bench, team, out of form, people moaning about him. He wants a fresh start. He's in his mid-20s. The challenge is going to be his wages and the value. And Erik ten Hag may well look at Martial and go, I see a player there, but I don't think it will be reciprocated from Martial where he goes, I see an opportunity here. I think he will go. I think he wants to go. The hardest thing with this is, and I agree, I like Martial, but I do agree it's time to part ways. I just don't think he'll be able to break that cycle now. I think many of our fans have made their mind up about him. I think he's made his mind up about the club. And it would be very difficult to come in and start afresh, because even if he scored for a couple of bad games, and people will go, oh, Martial's just lazy, this, that and the other. So it's better for him to leave. The challenge will be, and again, the information I've had is the challenge will be, he's on over £200,000 a week. Manchester United, he's still got quite a few years left on his contract. United aren't going to want to let him go for 20 million. But they might have to let him go for as little as 30 million, because although his value might be a little bit more, his wages are huge. So a lot of this is coming down to how hungry Martial is to go somewhere else and maybe take a wage cut, and how cheap United will sell him for. And again, in the spirit of a new start, Manchester United need to be looking at some of these deals and going, look, we've got a new manager, it's a new start. Do we want to do what we did to Mourinho, what we did to Ollie, what we did to Van Gaal, and lumber them with players that don't really want to be here, but we don't want to sell, who then become quite toxic in the United dressing room? And I'm not saying Martial's toxic, but what I'm saying is any senior pro that's not part of your plans, that's hanging around training and anything, is toxic. I don't mean they're causing trouble, but they're unhappy, and ultimately you want everybody heading in the same direction. We don't want players that aren't really part of the future. So Martial's certainly a player I think United will be looking to move on. And then Dean Henderson is the last one, the sixth one. And people might be saying, I was hoping it was going to be Maguire or Luke Shaw or Bruno. I'll talk to you about those in a minute. Dean Henderson's a very interesting one. He falls into the category of Martial. He falls into the category of a Lingard. He falls into the category of an Eric Bailly. Without a shadow of a doubt, he's not been happy at United for at least a year. He thinks he should be number one. He thinks he should be playing more games. That's up to him. Great, he's got his own belief. But what do you do with a player like this? What do you do with a player like this? What's the report back from Rangnick to Ten Hag? What's he actually like in the dressing room? Is he another of the players who are leaking information? Is he a toxic person around the club? I don't know. Categorically, I don't know. There's a lot of rumours around Dean Henderson about things that, rumours are rumours. We're all subject to rumours. It doesn't mean it's true. But he's certainly a player that needs to be moved on. He's clearly not the profile of goalkeeper that United need. United need a goalkeeper that is willing to allow David De Gea to be the goalkeeper, but learn from him. And when you do get the cup games, take them, and then accept you're out for the league. But over the next 2 years, you maybe force him out. I think Dean Henderson came in and went, I'm going to be the number one, and it's just not worked. That respect was never there. The relationship was never there. I want to be in the Premier League, and I want to be the Champions League goalkeeper. That's never going to happen when you've got someone like David De Gea at the club. Plus, he's an asset. He's not a bad goalkeeper. I think other people would look at him. There is rumour that United might loan him. Look, there may be even a chance that he ends up being our number one. But realistically, even when he got limited chances this season, out of the cup to West Ham, didn't save a penalty against Middlesbrough, I think it's just time to part ways. And I think for Henderson, it's time to part ways. Which way it's going to go, whether it's a transfer fee, a loan deal, I don't know. But he will be up for grabs. And if somebody comes in with a decent offer for him that he likes, I think Dean Henderson will be on the way. And I think it's better for everyone if that is the case, because I certainly think we need to bring a goalkeeper in, probably a younger goalkeeper. And Dean Henderson's 25, that's still young for a goalkeeper. But a goalkeeper that's going to come into this club respect that it's a long journey. We are part of a rebuild now, so it's the perfect time to bring a goalkeeper that's 22, 23, who's willing to learn from De Gea about the club, play in the League Cup, play in the FA Cup, play a bit in the Europa League, and gradually take that spot over the next couple of years, learning their game under Ten Hag so he can mould them. And I think that's the way that Ten Hag will probably go. In relation to other players, look, I know people would love to see a Maguire sold, a Luke Shaw sold, maybe a Rashford sold, maybe a Bruno sold. People might want to see that. Maybe a De Gea sold, maybe a Ronaldo sold. But realistically, in year one, when you've got Mata, Matic, Cavani, Pogba, Lingard, and somebody else is going as well. I forget who it is. Somebody else is going, definitely. But 5 or 6 players definitely leaving. And you've got those 6 players we're talking about there. Of course, people will go, oh no, we should be selling Rashford, this, that and the other. And maybe there will be that huge superstar that gets sold. But the reality is United are going to lose at least 10 first-team players. And they need to. They're not going to move towards 15, I don't think, because you'd have to be buying 5 to 10 players then. And that's the thing. This is why this is a big job at Manchester United, because effectively they probably do need to sell half of their squad, 15. But you'd have to buy at least 10 players in, and they just can't get rid of 15 players and bring 10 in one summer. So your Rashfords, your Maguires, your Brunos, maybe one of those maybe 1 or 2 of them do deserve to be kicked out of the club, but they will be given a stay of execution and another opportunity, quite simply because there's a bigger list in front of them that are either walking out the door for nothing or need to go, which is what we've discussed there. Anyway, look, smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe. I'm live on That's Football tonight at 8 o'clock for Real Madrid against Manchester City. Hence, this is not a live show, but we'll be back with a live show tomorrow morning. Please do check out the code BoohooMan. I put it back on the screen there. You can get 40% off with the code EXTRA plus an additional 10% on checkout. Hold your phone up with your camera, scan the QR code. This is a BoohooMan active top. As you can see, it's got a nice little badge on the arm there. Lovely colours for United. And links in the description as well. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you liked the video. Good information there. Do I think all 6 of those players will go? Potentially. I certainly think 4 of them will. And maybe a couple go on. Loans are always an option as well. But I don't think, from what I'm hearing and logically, we're going to see a Maguire or a Shaw or a Bruno or a Rashford or anyone like that sold this summer. Get your comments in below on what you think. Get your comments in below on who you'd let go. Get your comments in below on who you think will go. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Speak to you soon.